Hi everybody, it is May 19th, Tuesday, May 19th. I work, as you know, I'm basically a self-employed artist, so I make my own hours. Lately I've been working, getting up really early, and I stop working usually midday because it gets a little hot, although I work inside too, and then I work in the evenings a lot too. Um, I know you guys want me to explain myself better, which I'm going to try to do, as far as kind of how I got to where I'm at and where I kind of woke up to knowing some things about myself that at first I didn't believe it, just like anybody else. Um, I kind of want to, I made some notes so I won't forget some stuff, but basically I want to explain how, I mean, there's probably a lot of you people out there that maybe have heard voices or something. Like for me, when I first started hearing telepathic voices like in my head, it, I attributed it to angels, basically, or yeah, basically angels. Um, so I'm thinking, okay, I'm just getting some sort of enlightenment or some sort of message or something. And basically, how telepathy works is, and I mean, since then I've looked it up and I've seen other people talk about it too. And as you can imagine, if you actually physically heard a voice go, "Hello," whatever, it would freak you out, whatever. So and it's not a coincidence that they actually tell you in your own language too, because that way you understand it. But it's almost like hearing your own voice, and that's why I attribute it to like that small little voice in your head that we all have. It's like, giving us warnings or giving you a heads up about different things in your life. So, I mean, the first time I've heard that voice, I guess, when I was kind of just meditating when I was a teenager. Just basically, I was seeking God at the time because I've went through quite an extended kind of religious period in my life, and that was kind of when I was like searching for if there is such a thing. And I'm just sort of meditating and sort of asking, if there really is a God, please, somehow show yourself, or give me a sign. And sure enough, I felt this presence in my room, and I was like, at first it kind of startled me because I realized I'm not alone, and yet I am alone. Um, so I started feeling things like this, and then as time progressed, um, I think a lot of us have deja vu too. I was starting to get more really acute deja vu things going on, like been here before, I've seen this or something, or these people look familiar. There's a bunch of that stuff kind of going on, and it became kind of surreal too because it's almost like I'm not in touch with reality. It became like another, I guess I could probably explain it as another dimension too. Um, anyway, these sort of things kept on happening to me. So just so you kind of understand the history of it. Um, and then because I was going through a religious experience, like that's why I attributed everything to that was happening to me, basically as angels speaking to me. Basically that's kind of how I looked at it. Anyway, I would be praying, let's say, and this is back in the 1980s. I was like in my teens, late teens, like maybe 17 or 18 years old. Anyway, I started to spontaneously speak in other languages. First, one language, and it's pretty startling because it actually just kind of controls what you're saying, and it's kind of a repetitive thing, but it's like it would just sort of go, it would just start talking through me. Uh, it wasn't necessarily frightening, but it was definitely like freaking me out a little bit. So I would stop it and then speak it some more, whatever. But it felt like there was a flow going through me. So anyway, because I was going through my religious experience at the time, still, I basically was taught, or I discussed this with other people in the Christian community, and they were basically saying that I was speaking in tongues. So I accepted that. It was like the Holy Spirit speaking through me. So okay, good explanation. So I was okay with that. Um, but this language would sometimes when I'd meditate or pray alone, it would just start appearing and speaking up. And then it turned into different languages. And then one time I basically counted them because it wouldn't stop. It was changing from one language to another, to another, to another. And next thing you know, I'm speaking like 8 languages. Now, out of those languages, I kind of recognized, let's say, 5 of them. And the other 3 were very strange. They were, I guess the best way to put it would be off-world, or, I don't know, some other planet. That's kind of what came to my head. Because it was more of a, instead of a fluid language, like for instance, some of the languages I was speaking were very oriental sounding, like Chinese or whatever. It was like words like that. I mean, I don't, what it is I don't know what I'm saying, but it would just come out of my mouth. And then some sounded like Arabic, kind of is the best way I could explain it. Some sounded Russian. But anyway, these 2 or 3 odd languages, they were more, one was very harmonious. It goes like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, but anyway. And then very melodic. And then the another one that really stood out to me was, it sounded like an insect. It was like that. Anyway, I'm just trying to explain some of my strange experiences so you kind of get where I'm coming from. So, I mean, and then, for instance, there were things like voices telling me things telepathically to save me. And I want to just give you one example for now. There was quite a few. But one time I was driving through the mountains in British Columbia, late at night, probably 1 o'clock in the morning. And it's a really windy road, really close to the edge of the mountain. Anyway, I was coming around this road, and the voice said to me in my head, there's a truck driver coming at you that has fell asleep at the wheel. He's going to be in your lane. Don't panic and pull over to the right, which is closer to the side of the mountain, and slow down. I mean, I didn't even see a truck. And then, whatever, I just kept on driving. I was like, wow. The thing is with telepathy, it's like it's in my case anyway, it's very calming, and it's kind of almost like all at once. It doesn't take a long time. It's like it's a download. It's like all that information instantly. And then, sure enough, like 30 seconds later, come around the corner, was this big truck right in my lane. But instead of panicking and going in the other lane, I moved closer to the mountain and slowed down, exactly what they told me to do. And sure enough, as I was doing that, the truck went just by the car, just missed us. And we stopped, and then the truck obviously turned around, and the truck driver got out and waved at us, like, hey, you okay, whatever. I waved at him. I said, yeah, we just missed that one. I called them dodging bullets. So I dodged the bullet on that one. Anyway, that's one time where I was like, wow, I'm glad that voice told me that. You know what I mean? So I've had that and other experiences. I kind of wrote some notes down to explain myself better. But also, I think one of the better ways to explain the situation I'm in right now, because, like I said, because I've been kind of almost just waking up to this, and it's like I'm a sleeper agent is kind of how I'm feeling. It's like I'm awakened at a certain time, which is now, or the last 5 years to get me up to speed. And what they tell me is they don't give me too much information because, first of all, it's too much information and I wouldn't be able to process it properly. So it's always just little bits. But I'm also told that there's bits of this information. It's almost kind of like a puzzle, and it's spread amongst other, I guess one of the better explanations now, what people are starting to understand this a little bit more, but other, let's say, light workers that are here. Now, as bizarre as this sounds, that's kind of the message they were giving me. Again, this is all telepathic. And a lot of people are wondering, like, when do they talk to me? Mostly in the really early mornings, like basically in my sleep. They talk to me a lot in my sleep. Um, Sometimes it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'll even wake up, sometimes write down notes of what they said. And as you can imagine, like I said, I didn't sign up for this, but I guess in some ways I must have. I must have, because I know I must have agreed to this when I came in here. Um, but this is like, I would be questioning it all the time, just like anybody else would. I mean, I get some sort of downloaded information. I'm going, wow, you mean the universe is this large or whatever? Like just little strange explanations of what's going on and what's going on in the world as well as what's going on out there. So what I would do is I would go to the internet because I go, am I crazy? Is someone else talking about this stuff? So that's when I would start my searches a lot. And that's why it started about 5 or 6 years ago. I really started looking into other people's testimonies of like, you know, some people talking to spirits or whatever. So I went through a lot of research trying to validate what's happening to me and trying to make sense of it. So I mean, I've been doing a lot of that, but also in a kind of a funny way, what I've been sort of like how it's been explained to me is very much like the movie Brubaker with starring Robert Redford, where he's like this. He's a undercover policeman, and he's put into prison to try to find out what's wrong with the prison system and things like that. That's kind of how I feel I've been put in here. So, like I said, they kind of told me I'm more of an observer, intel gatherer, sort of, to a certain extent. And also to acclimate myself to this. But also I want to clarify something else is when I first started understanding or believing in spiritual things, I didn't believe in reincarnation, whereas I know beyond a shadow of a doubt now, even just through my own personal experiences, as well as listening to others. But I've been reincarnated, and yes, I've been to Earth quite a few times. I can't say exactly. I've had some very strange experiences when I went over to Europe. Basically, I guess one of the harder things to get across is it's a knowing. There's like, for instance, when I went over to Europe a few times, I would not only feel that okay, I've been here before, that was obviously the first time in this body I visited Europe or went to Germany and England and things, just most of museums. But yeah, I'd feel like I've been here before. I don't know. It's just this information kind of downloads, and it's kind of trippy. So I mean, that was kind of validating the fact that I know that I've been here, I've incarnated a few times. So this last time, which is like this one right now, the reason why I say I'm from the future is because this can be hard to explain. I can't do this all in one video, you guys, so I'll split it up. But the basic gist is this is a timeline that it's almost like we're going through different cycles, and this is like the end of a particular cycle for this. The best way of me to explain it sometimes, it's a learning module. It's like this scenario that we're going through right now. It always ends tragically, so we kind of already know ahead of time how this was going to end. And we shifted that timeline back in 2012. And we're basically on a different trajectory, so it's a positive timeline. Anyway, it's just hard for me to explain everything. So when I've been waking up to this, it's like, okay, now this is going to be more of a positive timeline. But it has to do with everybody's participation. And it has to do with our consciousness. Everybody's connected. Like I've been bringing up in previous videos about, the 100 monkeys, that type of thing. But it's like we have this combined consciousness that actually makes decisions as a collective. We are writing this story together, is what it boils down to. We are, whether we realize it or not. And our controllers know that. So as you've been noticing, we've been waking up to the fact that they use fear as their main MO. So they try to keep us in fear constantly so that we can't make good decisions, as well as we feel powerless. But the reality is we are all making this work. And that's why they're kind of also in a panic, because the more of us wake up, the more we can steer this thing back to where it's supposed to be and where it's a better ending for this. Now, the intel I've been getting, as far as, like I said, downloads, we are on a positive path now. And they've been showing me things that it's working, and it's going to work. This time it's going to work. And like I said, I'm going to have to make other videos to explain myself on that. But so I'm not here to, like, I'm coming back going, Marty, you got to go back. You got to go back to the future, and it's not about warning us from this terrible situation that we're in and, get out of it. It's more like I'm here to tell you guys some good news, like I said. But it's pretty hard to visualize this because it's not really happening yet. Well, it sort of is. It's actually, we're churning the tide. Basically, we're tipping the scales. It's going more towards us being freed. So anyway, this is just another video. Again, take it or leave it. And you guys got to remember something, that I'm not trying to recruit or tell you guys to believe this stuff. What I'm really trying to do is say, it's almost like, get this ball rolling. I don't want to be this one that says these strange things. That I feel, like I said, I feel very uncomfortable saying them. But I'm hoping it's going to spark other people going, hey, I got a message too. I got a part of this puzzle, because, like I said, it's more like this puzzle of, well, for me anyway, it's like, well, so why am I here? Those questions that everybody asks. So why am I here? But when you start waking up to it, like I am, it gets pretty profound after a while, and I feel compelled to do something about it. That's why I'm doing this. So, I can go on to other topics and everything, but because I think that's enough for now. But I'm trying to give you guys a heads up on things are working. We're getting help from outside as well as down here, boots on the ground. It's going good, and I can give you some updates later this week. But hopefully it kind of explains my situation a little bit better. Okay, bye.